So let's get more into, you went on this trip, you had this great experience with, the person who would soon be your co-founder. You come back, how do you even start? Because that's usually, sometimes it's one of the challenges. It's like, okay, how do we have this idea, how do we get things mobilized and get things going?
Right, right. That's a great question. So I think that it's fair to say that we were both mentally in a place where we were very hungry to sink our teeth, if you will, into a life vision. We were, we both had other businesses prior before I had a small brand development consultancy in San Diego with a girlfriend. I did that for a year and a half. So I did have my own entrepreneurial sort of experience. And my co-founder, Sean, also had a clothing company, a surf-inspired, he's from Hawaii, surf-inspired clothing company that he had over about a 7-year period. So we were both mentally, first and foremost, in a space where our intention that we had was to figure out how to use our entrepreneurial skills, our passion for it, but also marry in this passion for doing good in the world and travel, which we were just really excited about. So I think just mentally being in that place and open and really just knowing that we wanted to manifest a movement. We were ready to really dedicate our lives, essentially, to a movement. And once we struck on this idea of a give and get hotel booking platform, it really just resonated with us. We really just felt so passionate. So to start that journey, it took form in a lot of different ways. So some of the key things were the fact that, while I was in publishing, media and advertising, and I was working with lifestyle magazines that had an element of travel, they weren't purely travel. And I really felt like I needed to get more experience in the travel space. So I actually went back to school at UCLA Extension and started taking classes on journalism, and I became a travel journalist. And that really opened up so many doors, because all of a sudden I was, talking to hotels, writing about hotels, staying at their hotels, writing about my experiences, and then also working with tourism boards. And I traveled to Ireland with the tourism board and wrote about it and got it published. So eventually I had my own travel column on CBS, Los Angeles, and I started writing for Fast Company and literally 10 other outlets. And that started really opening up doors. While I was taking these classes, I also started taking classes on fundraising, because I was like, well, that's not my background. What can I do to learn more? So I started honing in on literally just taking any class that I felt was going to be relative to the business. And so I literally took like a class called Presenting the Perfect Pitch, and marketing and PR, journalism, video broadcasting, social media, all the little tools that I knew I was going to need to have as a business owner for this type of business. I started honing in. And It's so interesting, because last night I've been invited to be a guest lecturer at UCLA now 4 times to talk about how I used UCLA Extension as my little sort of training course, to go through some of these classes that really help build Kind Traveler. And I always share that story with them, to other students.
That's incredible, because that's one of the key things, is that when we usually are starting businesses, usually we have a great idea, and there's certain skills that you really need to refine if you're going to be that successful entrepreneur. So the fact that you took the initiative and enrolled yourself in these classes, and in order to get the credibility around having a background in that space, learn those specific skills that any entrepreneur is really going to need to hone in on and refine in order to really get a solid foundation within business is so inspiring and such a lesson that I think so many people can benefit